This is my Father's world. I trust these days are in His plan. I am my Father's child. He holds my life in loving hand. I cry out loud. He shares my tears. I'm so afraid. He calms my fears.
Hey, my name's jhuddle. I'm a pastor with Eikon Church of the Nazarene. I'm on the NorCal district in Oakland, California, where we did not have an English language church for the Church of the Nazarene in 2019. I'm not with you today because I am COVID positive. And I, Pastor Mark, I'm so sorry that I cannot be with there. There's no place I would rather be than with y'all at the workshop today and at the workshop tomorrow, getting to know you and hearing your stories. But I want to tell you a little bit about mine. In 2019, our district superintendent, Albert Hung, invited my wife, our family, and I to come up and prayer walk the city of Oakland. We did that and we're blown away by what we discovered. I really did not think we would ever leave Los Angeles. And I asked Albert this question after we prayer walked. I'm going to be, a middle-aged white guy moving into Oakland, where in one neighborhood, which is actually the neighborhood we ended up moving to, in one specific neighborhood, there was within a 1 mile square radius close to 100 different languages being spoken. I said, you got to have some kind of indigenous leader on the ground, that is your person that's going to make this happen and pull this off for you. He took that back to the DAB. Folks prayed about it, recontacted me and said, Johnny, we really believe we're supposed to give you and Amanda and your family this invitation. Shortly after this, Amanda and I found out we were pregnant. Then COVID exploded across the country, but we still felt the voice of the Holy Spirit leading us to say yes. And so did our best friends, Lindsay and Kelly, with their daughter, Kennedy, and Jenny and Kenaniah. We all moved up, including my oldest son, Carlton, and there he is with his wife, Misty, my wife Amanda, Sydney, Elijah, and the right there is Lucy. And we felt God calling us not to come up as like experts, but instead to be armed with ignorance, to let the community of Oakland, the city of Oakland, declare to us who she is. And then we would know what God was leading us to do. And boom, we had an elementary school connection at a public school in East Oakland. And then boom, a middle school connection with a public middle school in East Oakland. And we felt God really digging our roots in. We knew He was on the move. 6 months later, that person I talked to on the phone in the elementary school, her name is Erica. I found out she was the after-school program director. She knew 140 families that were marginalized, many of them undocumented, many of them facing language challenges, severe poverty. I mean, guys, severe poverty right here under our noses. And she knew whose kids needed the love. And she connected with us. We connected with her. I'm going to talk about how we connected in a little bit. But she ended up becoming our person of peace there at the school. And then through a ministry God gave birth to when we got up here, through a special connection, I was able to provide one of the schools with some donations, the middle school. And the donations, they were really great. They were cleaning supplies and actually compact fridges, these little compact fridges. This was in the middle of COVID when nobody was meeting on campus, right? We went down to the school and we blew the executive director away so much. He said, John, can you and I meet face to face next week? And I said, sure. We met face to face and he invited me to be on the board of the middle school. So I had one person apiece at one school invited me into the middle of all of these families. I had another person apiece at the other school invited me into leadership. This is not a we're the light of the world moment. This is a we're the salt of the earth moment. We're trying to bring the true flavor out of these schools and find out what is our role in all of this. But it really came out of us listening to what's going on in the community. Like one fact that stood out to us was 3 out of 4 black students read below their grade level or are not literate, compared to 5 out of 6 white students in Oakland. What a insane disparity, We started youth environmental studies. So instead of doing a VBS, we thought, what if instead we do an environmental studies program with these middle school students? That's something I can go in both these schools and I can say, hey, we're going to do an environmental sciences studies program. And it's free for the kids to come and be a part of it. Well, what does it entail? Well, we're going to go on some hikes, and we're going to go on some neighborhood walks, and we're going to look at the challenges in our environment, in our neighborhood, as well as the beauty. And then we're going to go on hikes, and we're going to look at challenges in our environment as well as beauty in the natural world. And then we're going to get these kids to write about it. And it's going to be a literacy program and a writing program. And we had 9 students. I had a goal of 30. We had 9 students last summer. This summer, we had 28 students, and I'll show you a picture here of the final event where all the parents came in and the students came in, and it was a 3-week program, 6 hours a day, Monday to Thursday for 3 weeks. And we all donated time. We all made it work by doing a youth environmental studies thing. Is their classmates can ask them, yo, what are you doing in the YES program? What is that about? Is that like a church thing? And they're all like, yeah, it is. But man, we go out and we study our environment, and we're looking for ways that we can be a blessing to our environment. And then we do a lot of writing stuff and a lot of music stuff. And I mean, I'm telling you, these kids, they get popping about it.
Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. You.
2 other doors that opened up after we got here. One of them was, I think we were positioning ourselves in the soil in a good way, and not taking credit for it, but we were armed with ignorance, right? We were listening to our folks, right? We were identifying the people of peace, that Luke 10 mentality, right? And then whatever they were setting before us, we were taking those opportunities. Positioned in the right soil, working with the people of peace, I get the random phone call out of the blue from one of my guys at World Vision. And he says, Johnny, I got 15 semi-truckloads of home good donations from major retailers that are being given to us that would be going to a landfill. They're in brand new condition. Do you got some kind of empty old church facility out there we could just like dump some of these into, and maybe you could figure out something to do with it? December 23rd, 2020, Infinite Christmas was born. My son, Carlton, worked and did fulfillment for Trader Joe's. He designed a plan for these semi-trucks to pull into this old facility in the NorCal District, Hayward Church of the Nazarene. NorCal District's District Advisory Board. This is my son Carlton. It's Johnny Huddle. We got the first truck pulling in to Hayward Church of the Nazarene. And by God's grace, we're going to be able to begin today what we call a hub ministry for goods being donated to Eikon Church through our World Vision partnership. And today the truckload will be valued probably about $60,000 worth of furniture, Ninja Foodies, diapers, and we're going to be able to leverage those resources for the most vulnerable families in the East Bay. On December 23rd, we got 2 truckloads in, and we started our Infinite Christmas modality. Infinite Christmas. What if every month of the entire calendar year, everybody had an Advent time, a time of waiting and expectation for the Word to become flesh and move into the neighborhood? And then what if every family, every month of the year, not just in December, expected to identify a need in their immediate community and then go and give in honoring ways, in honoring and respectful ways, give or contribute to that need? Infinite Christmas is another one of these very organic visions, because you're going through COVID, and the old paradigm is let's get people to access our church facility space. What if we reversed that inertia, right? What if instead we did what John Wesley did? Between 11 and 1 p.m., 3 days a week, he spent that time in families' homes during the plague, family. I mean, don't tell me we can't do it during COVID when he was doing it during the plague. He taught parents how to disciple their kids. Infinite Christmas is this opportunity for us to meet people in the community. They don't come to like some kind of thrift shop and buy this stuff. We are out in the community meeting people, identifying needs, and then we're giving to the point of the need. For instance, I'm out at Target, and I got to get a birthday gift for my son Elijah, and man, I'm hungry, and man, I get shopped out so easy. Shopped out. That's what happens when my brain breaks because I'm tired of shopping, which is like the first 2 minutes I'm in any store. So I'm like, man, you better get something to eat. And I looked around me and there was old boy over there cooking tri-tip on his little potluck table on the side of the road. I'm like, I'm going to go over there and try that guy's tri-tip. So I walk up to him and I noticed, man, all of his grill equipment was all busted up and jacked up. And I'm like, what happened to your grill, bro? The door's hanging off it and your tent's ripped. And he's like, oh man, where I set up is a high traffic area for people, but a lot of high winds come through. And today they came through and they destroyed my equipment. I said, this happened today. And he was like, yeah, it just happened today. And I don't know what I'm going to do. But I already had my phone out and I was texting Lindsay at the Hayward church facility. And I said, do we have any grill equipment? We had just gotten in all these Traeger grills. And I showed him a picture and actually matched the color of his logo, which was a total like divine like thing, really cool thing. We got him one of those plug-in coolers that refrigerate stuff because he does all of his own sides. One of those portable Black & Decker chargers you can plug stuff into and like power like little speakers and your phone and little lights and things off that. We got him a bug zapper because believe it or not, there are bugs in NorCal. Don't believe what NorCal people say, that it's never hot up here and that there's no bugs. But I still love NorCal and I'm loving my NorCal people. We ended up getting to drop all this stuff off at his home. Loves his family, taking a huge risk by doing this business. And I'm telling you what, just through that one moment of Infinite Christmas, the relationship connection I've got with Jonathan has been huge. He has since catered a missional event that we did with Church in Action, who came from Germany, spent some time with us. He also catered, I'll show you a picture here, our Infinite Christmas leaders dinner. These are all the different leaders from all the different churches and nonprofits that are now partnering with us through this Infinite Christmas modality. I warned Pastor Mark that some of the ideas that God's given birth to in our midst, they're all organic, but that they can feel a little cooked. Like, whoa, there's a lot more thought going into this than maybe the simple idea that I had, or, I want to go and I want to start a group here at this park, or I want to start a group over here at this coffee shop. Let me tell you right now, none of these ideas are more cooked than any of the ideas God's given you. You have to remove all pickiness from your mindset on who you're going to impact. You may go into a situation and think these people are the people I'm supposed to target, and then God drops 12 people right there on your doorstep. You can't be picky. You got to work with who God gives you to work with. And the second thing is, I am always listening for that moment someone in the group wants to do more than what the group is doing. Okay, I used to kind of put water on that because I wanted to keep the group going the way it was going because I had this very clear discipleship paradigm mapped out. But when, like, for instance, one of our young people said, at the Yes program, he said, man, Mr. John, could we just do like a Hope for the Homeless Club? Like some kind of Hope for the Homeless Club. We're always up here at this park because there was this one park we were always going to. And man, I see these guys up here and we're always giving them our food, but like, I wish we could do more for them. And the moment he said that, I said, let's do it. And that became the new thing. So sometimes multiplication happens through people and through the harvest. One of our church members moved up here with us. His name is Steve. We met him. He was living in a park. He was through one of our organic churches that we had at a park in LA, and we adopted him. He became a part of our family. He went through a scary health crisis up here and ended up in a 24/7 assisted care facility. One thing led to another. And the director of the facility asked to meet with me. Now, it's one of those like Benjamin Button. If you ever saw that movie, it's a house like that. It's this big house, and there's all these folks living in the house being cared for. It's kind of a wonderful environment. And she said, John, do you notice how many other residents get visitors? And I said, no, I haven't really paid attention to that because I was going and visiting Steve every day. And she said, on average, our residents get 0 visitors a year. Usually 1 to 2 phone calls a year. And when she said to me, my heart just stopped. And so, boom, this 24/7 assisted care facility was opened. Opal Care invites me to the assisted living facility to do anything I want to do with the residents there. Not because I've got some kind of special authority, but they see that I love Steve. And we have this opportunity to take our witness out from under a bushel and just to step through fear and go for it, and love people and let the world bear witness to that love. You can never go wrong with love. You're not marginalizing holiness by leaning into love. Pastor Mark can give you my contact information if you have any questions. If you're sitting there thinking, man, some of these ideas are big and or some of these ideas seem more than my idea, it's not true. It's not true. Nothing that I've shared about on even Infinite Christmas, even getting, a word from a friend with all these donations. Let me tell you, you may have gotten calls like that. And you don't remember them because when you got the call, you didn't have the vision or the capacity to receive whatever that other person on the phone was offering you. When you're majoring in the idea that God puts in your heart, and that idea is coming out of the community, you're listening to the community, you're there to serve the community and find a way to bring the gospel to that community. This community wants Elijah, John the Baptist, one of the prophets. You're going to give them Jesus, right? And so when you're listening like that, you give yourself the opportunity to hear the other doors that open, and God will be your champion. He will get you the resources you need to expand his kingdom, because he's building his church. He is always building his church. It is his church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. Love y'all.
This is my Father's world. I trust these days are in his plan. I am my Father's child. He holds my life in loving hand. I cry out loud. He shares my tears. So afraid, he calms my fears. Oh Lord, I offer up these many years of a life that is not mine.